Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 11 of Randy Starts a Side Hustle. I got a lady boss for you guys this week. I got Evie Rodriguez from Flame Talk. Guys, you guys are in for a treat. I'm super excited. Evie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you so much.
I'm super excited to have you on the show. I know that you're a teacher during the day and you also got your own podcast.
Yes.
You got your hands busy, man. That's exciting.
Yes, this super busy.
Tell
I'm
us a little
busy.
bit about yourself, Evie.
Well, I also have a podcast, and it's called Flame Talk, where I talk and I do something completely different from Randy. I talk about relationships and things of that nature. In the daytime, I'm also a teacher.
I think teachers should get paid like doctors. I've always said that because you guys are. It's a big deal what you guys do. It's better you do your job.
Of course, absolutely. That's the one thing that a lot of people.
It's
Listen,
awesome.
just yesterday, we to encourage the students, and we're getting ready. There's only like 3 more months for school. So to encourage them, we do different themes. And yesterday we did a theme which was called boot camp. You know, the kids come dressed as
Military.
soldiers. We decorated the class,
That's cool.
and then we rotated into different classroom. One teacher taught them, went over and did activities with, like, let's talk about facts and opinion. Another one, cause and effect. The other one, the main idea. We painted their face. We did chants.
Oh, that's cool.
Super cool to make it fun.
That's awesome.
You
What
know.
made you want to get into teaching?
Actually, it's a really funny story. Um, I have a master's, and my master's is totally in something completely different. I've always worked with government and criminal justice, and this opportunity came about where a friend was like, "Hey, you know what? My school is hiring. Why don't you just jump ship?" I was working in a company where I was doing all the background checks for all the truck drivers.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. I'm pretty good with kids, you know? And boom, fast forward, I gave it a shot. It's been 3 years, and here I am.
Cool.
you know?
That's awesome. So you liked it. You loved it. You fell in love with it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's stressful. Don't get
I
me
know.
wrong.
I
And
know
there's
it is.
times where I
Trust
just
me.
want
I
to be
know.
like, you know what? I want to walk away. But then it's like the love that those little ones give you, because it's different. You dealing with elementary kids and then dealing with middle schoolers.
Right.
Middle schoolers, I don't think I can ever teach middle school because their hormones, now they think they're grown. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to deal with middle
My
school.
daughter's there.
Ah,
Yeah.
but these little ones, they just, the love. It's the I love you. They come and they do little bracelets
Oh, that's
for
cool.
you, and the hugs, and it's just different.
It's very gratifying.
Yes,
That's
it's
excellent.
gratifying. So
That's excellent.
here I am.
I love it. I love it. I'm really enjoying with my daughter
Mhm.
and the middle school. She's a good kid, man. She gets great grades. She's into sports. She plays basketball.
That's awesome.
She plays flag football. It's so exciting. I
Wow.
really enjoy it, man. It's like I'm living vicariously through my daughter,
But
watching
that's
her
awesome
with the
because
sports.
let me tell you, like I said, I teach first grade, and first graders are 6 and 7 years old. And
They're
these
so
kids,
cute, man. My daughter coaches them.
oh
The little
no,
basketball team, yeah.
that is adorable.
Yeah, it's cool.
But they're very grown, and you have to. There's a lot of correction that you have to do because the way they speak to you, sometimes a little slip ups of the bad words,
Yeah.
and sometimes you call on them, and it's like yeah, and it's like oh whoa whoa whoa. So no, you're not only teaching, you're also being. It's like being a parent.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. You spend more time with them than the parents do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
Flame talk. Tell me about that.
Flame Talk. So Flame Talk, I started Flame Talk some years ago.
Oh,
Then
so you've been doing it for a while already.
I've been doing it for a while. Unfortunately, the employer that I had, there was a little situation and I had to stop. So that kind of like, I had to just stop all of a sudden. And now officially I got back into Flame Talk now in January. And what Flame Talk is about is, again, I talk about relationship, different scenarios. I have on Instagram, people send me different scenarios, through DMs, and I post either their question anonymously, and we talk about different, people chime in their opinion, and people see that, and it's like, okay. Not only that, you also have your life experiences, friends, situations, and things that people go through, and I liked it, and I was like, you know what? Let me move forward this, and it's something that I enjoy. It's fun, so it's super cool.
I'm looking forward to doing my episode with you and your show.
Yes,
Because I'm really into the relationships, and yes, that's something that I like to talk about.
that's awesome, Randy.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
definitely love
yeah.
to have you so we
Yeah,
can talk
it's gonna
about
be
some
cool.
things.
It's gonna be cool.
Yes.
So I've seen you on there, man. You do all kinds of videos. I've seen you working out. I
Oh,
see
yeah.
you. Oh man, that's awesome.
I'm trying. You know what they say? We are in a tough economy right now.
Yes,
Things are tough.
big time.
So yeah, so you're trying one income alone, it's hard. Like I said, I'm a teacher and we don't get paid enough. So I'm trying to I'm like, okay, something has to give. Fitness, I'm into fitness. I do my little cooking.
That's
also
cool.
as a little hobby that I enjoy. So I do
Lady
that.
boss, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You
on
got to
here,
have your
lady
side
boss.
hustles going.
You have to.
Yeah.
One income alone nowadays is hard. And living in Miami is even worse.
I was talking about that this week with some people. When my father came to this country in the 60s, he came in through New Jersey. He met my mom on the plane on the way out of Cuba. And my mother, he came to this country. He did very well for himself. I saw my dad live the American dream. And I also saw that my mother never worked a day in her life. She didn't work a job. She was a homemaker. She worked all day long, but she was at home with us.
Right.
It was a different life. You don't see that anymore.
No.
There's no way that I don't know how we would make it if my wife didn't work. If I did, we both got to work. It's not like
tough.
it used to be.
No, my mom is the same scenario.
Yeah.
My mom was always the housewife. Dad is out there working.
I loved it, man.
Doing it. I would come home from school and I recall that.
They were
I recall
there.
this vividly.
She was there.
She was already cooking. We already had, hey, you get off from school, put your book bag away, eat a little snack, then you get to do your homework, and she was at home. That's how it was.
It was.
Not nowadays, you can't do that. Man.
And it was everybody, almost everybody. It was a lot of people that mom was home.
Absolutely.
It was a different time.
Different
Things
time.
have changed
man.
so much.
Things have changed drastically. You need that extra income, that support, that side hustle, something. You got to have something going because it's hard. Just can't do it alone.
You got to. That's why I like to bring different people on here that have different backgrounds or different side hustles,
course.
so they can share, so people can see. There's something for everybody.
Absolutely.
You can't work for the man's dream your whole life. You gotta do something else on the side.
Absolutely.
Or there's just people that are job people. They're happy with it. They live their whole life doing that, and that's fine too, man. I respect that too.
Right.
I just I've always my whole life, since I can remember, I have been an entrepreneur with the entrepreneur mentality, with always trying to find something to do on the side, having my own business. It's always been like that.
That's awesome.
It's a challenge.
But it is, because my thing is, a lot of people out of fear just don't jump don't jump ship. Some people, like you said, they're working people. You know, they don't want to own their business. They don't, you know, and to each their own. That's fine.
And it's fear.
But it's fear. A lot of people be like,
Stepping
oh,
outside the comfort zone.
yep,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
You have to find, I think, your passion. Find that passion. Hey, you know what? Even if you like baking,
Right.
you know what? Maybe you never know. And you may be the best baker. You can sit up there, hey, sell cakes, cupcakes on the side, a little extra income.
Absolutely.
Something. Find that passion in you and go for it. Because I think that's one thing with a lot of us. It's the fear. It's like, oh, what if? What you know, and that's a lot of people don't do their own thing because thinking the what if.
And it's always, what if I fail? Of course,
Exactly.
you're gonna fail. That's the way we
It's gonna
learn.
happen.
That's the way you win. You don't. You're not successful at business. Sometimes people get lucky, man. I've seen it in my life. I've seen people that I know, friends of mine, that start a business and their business just blows up. Their first business, the first time they do it, they pick the right business. They just happen to pick all the right things at the right moment, and it's very successful. It happens.
It happens.
But that doesn't happen all the time.
No.
Usually you're going to go through a struggle. Usually you're going to fail, and you're going to try again. You have to get back up and try again. That's the way it is.
You
know?
can't give up.
Can't give up.
You can't.
Got to keep swinging.
That's it.
Absolutely. Tell me about Flame Talk some more. What made you get into the whole relationship thing? What struck that up?
You know, I was with some friends one time, and I love watching YouTube. I'm a YouTuber, and I watch different things, and it always sparked my mind to like try to understand men a little more. You understand? Because I know us as women sometimes we can be challenging. We're so emotional.
No.
You know, we're so emotional. And I was like, you know what? I don't know, let's do this. Let me try to do this. We got together and we started talking, and they were like, hey, you know, you're not that shy. Go for it. And hey, you know what? I posted one time like a question, and people started sending me messages of things that they're going through in relationships. And I was like, oh, wow. And people started chiming in, giving their feedback. And I was like, this is good, to the point where, you know, I was like, I'm going to continue with this. And if I don't post something, people start inquiring, hey, what's up? When are you posting again?
Cool.
So, yeah.
But a lot of people need help with relationships.
They do.
We all do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We learn something new all the time.
Every time. Listen, no one is perfect. You know,
Especially the relationship with your spouse or you know.
Everyone has their ups and downs, and sometimes us as women, we don't realize that. We can be sometimes so tough on a man, and we don't think things like, for example, like the nagging. You know, we can nag over some little things, and it's like, you know what? Really? Like, that man just got off of work. Okay, he put his shoes by the door. Leave them shoes right there. You know, don't nag him about that. Just pick it up, you know, and put it away. But it's that men and women, we're different.
But every great man has a great woman
absolutely
next to him.
Absolutely.
Every man that I read about, everyone that I've listened, every one of them has a great woman next to them. We need it.
Absolutely.
You know?
I always tell people, you know what? Instead look for the chemistry, look for that where you're compatible. Communication, that's key. Communication is key.
Absolutely.
You know, without that, you're not going to get too far with that.
That's one of the first things I told my wife before we got married, before I proposed, when we were just dating. Because a lot of people, let me not say women, but a lot of people, they think that you're psychic. Like, I got to know what you're thinking and why you're upset. But you're not telling me.
Right.
I got to be, and I would tell her, I go, please, you have to communicate. Don't expect me to be psychic. Because this is from many relationships, many experiences with people, and you learn. People, sometimes they think that you know what they're thinking, and I know why she's upset. No. And she's been so good about that. We've had a good communication in our relationship, and I think that's what has made us last so long, that the whole, don't expect me to be psychic. You tell me what's up.
Right.
So we can deal with it, so we can figure it out. The relationship between your spouse, your girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, is one of the only relationships, I learned this a while back, is one of the only relationships that we have to work on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
It's not like your relationship with your brother or your mother or your best friend or your sister. No, those doesn't matter. I have friends that I have known since I was a little kid, and I could go 6 months without talking to them.
Right.
And we could pick up right where we left off. Hey, what's up? Boom, 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 boom. And then we got a ton of stuff to talk about because we haven't talked in 6 months. So we'll talk for half an hour, catch up. All right, bro. Have a great day. Love you, man. Talk to you later. Those relationships are different.
Absolutely.
The one with your spouse is a continual that you have to be paying attention all the time to make sure you're saying the right things, acting the right way. And I'm super guilty of not doing the right thing sometimes. Right. And, I get yelled at and it gets straightened out. And, my wife is amazing. I don't know. Sometimes I think about life without my wife, and I don't know. It would be hard.
Right.
My wife brings so much to the table.
And let me tell you, Randy, that's hard to find nowadays.
I waited till I was 40 years old to get married because I just wouldn't settle.
Right. Right. Which is good.
I wouldn't settle.
It's good.
Yeah.
And to find that, and I feel like nowadays it's really challenging. It's really hard because
it's super. And it goes both ways, guys and girls. It's hard to find good partners, man. They're lost.
They are. And that's true.
It's hard to meet. Let me tell you, when I met my wife, I think that same night, I remember I got home and one of my cousins was staying with me. And I said, man, I think I met the woman, bro.
Right.
I think I met the right woman. And I go, but the only thing is that she has a kid. That's exactly what I said to him. And he looked at me because I was already 40. I was almost 40.
Right.
And he goes to me, bro, everybody your age has kids.
Hey,
that's exactly what he said to me. Everybody your age has kids. I said, okay, pa'lante. And when I met my wife, it didn't take me long where I was like, oh, this is her. Done deal. Like when you meet someone.
When you know, you know.
Well, what was good is that I got to experience her being a daughter to her mother that was, handicapped at the time. So she had her hands full.
Oh, wow.
With that. And I got to see her being a mother. So I got to see what kind of mother she would be to my child. And I didn't even think that we would have kids because I already knew her kid was, I think Nelson was around 7 years old when I met her. And I didn't expect her to have another kid. I just wanted to be with her because I thought that she was amazing.
Right.
And God bless that we had a kid together, and it's been an amazing ride.
That's awesome.
And she's turned out to be exactly like I thought she would be.
That's awesome.
The woman that I expected her to be because she was. I'm lucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
That is
Good
beautiful.
stuff.
And again, it's just.
I wish that for everybody. It's not easy.
That's right.
Man.
I'm sure. No.
It's not easy.
I'm not perfect myself.
Yeah, it's not easy. Trust me, we have our scraps. If you're not scrapping, then you're not really in a relationship. You're going to scrap.
Exactly.
But
you brought up something very important. You're right. Already, if you're a person in your 40s, more than likely, that person's going to have kids. I mean, finding someone without kids is like a needle in a haystack.
It's hard.
It's
at
hard.
That age.
And the other thing is you got to experience how she was with her daughter. And that is so important.
Yeah, with her son.
Because I think nowadays, per what I'm seeing and stuff like that with social media, sometimes I'm like, we're doomed. Like I see these kids and you already see them, what they're posting on social media. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh gosh, what the future, what is the future, of waiting for us now here it's crazy with these little young girls, what they're posting. And I'm like, their parents, like, what's up with this? Like the way they're dressing and everybody wants to be an influencer with these kids. But that's key because I always say education starts at home. Education starts at home. And seeing like your wife, everything she did with her daughter and how she was, or her son, sorry.
Well, now her daughter too.
Bueno, that's tough.
Yeah,
You know,
and I
that's
got to see it, and I knew already. I know. I go, this is the mom right here. This is the person. This is the woman that I would love to be the mom of my children.
that's excellent. Whenever
And it's proven. You see her, how she's my. It's like you with your masters that you mastered. My wife, her degree is in teaching.
oh,
She ended up doing a completely different job at a completely different field, but
it happens.
her degree is in teaching. So, seeing her work with my daughter
Oh,
and helping my daughter. My daughter is a straight A student. She's up in the principal's honor roll.
that's
She
awesome.
plays sports. She does great. It's exciting. But you know what? We have her plugged into God. You know, we go to church.
Very
we pray
good.
with her. We
Very
spend time
good.
with her, talking to her about God. So I think that that's made a big difference
No,
in the way
absolutely.
that my daughter has been.
Absolutely. That does make a difference. You know, the way you're raising your kids.
Starts
Again,
at home.
education starts at home, and that right there compared to, and that's not to judge or anything like
Of
that.
course.
So please, but it
Some
does
parents
make it
don't have
different.
time, bro. Some parents are working.
Mira,
7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. They're still working and their kids are with someone else.
absolutely. Yeah, you're telling me. I know.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna see that at school when they come to the class. You're gonna see that.
Yeah, you can tell when their
Mhm.
homework, the way they are. The parents sometimes say, "Listen, I'm either single mom
It's
or,
tough, man.
you
It's a
know,
different time.
listen." I have friends that have kids, and I'm like, man, they tell me it's tough, and they're married, and they always tell me I don't know how single parents do it.
Hey, me
So
neither.
I can imagine how tough it is. You know, a parent to have two jobs. You're a single mom. You have to do homework. It's a lot. It's a
And that's
lot.
how I met my wife, single mom,
It's
doing
hard.
it on her own. She had her own little place. No, I was impressed. Yeah,
She's a
it's like
strong
yeah,
woman.
she's a
Strong woman.
super strong woman.
But you see, with her education background, right there, that tells you a lot. How
Yeah,
she is with the kids. She would be with her kids. So
she's
that's
made me
awesome.
better. She enhanced me.
That's awesome.
It's a big deal. It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm lucky,
that's
fortunate,
great.
blessed.
Blessed.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you have your show talk about relationships, I love talking about relationships, and if I thank God that I had the experiences that I had at a younger age. That by the time I met my wife, I knew what I was looking for. I knew what not to settle for. I knew exactly.
That's good because a lot of people,
You got to know. I made a
yeah,
list, pros and cons.
you know, now that you say that, there was I don't recall where I heard this from, but a psychologist, and she said that. She said, make a list of everything. Try to do at least 80 things. And I was like, 80
Yeah, it's
things?
a lot. Wow.
I was like, that's a lot. And she said, if you can find 80 things that the person you're with or you're looking for have it, that's your person. And this is a certified psychologist.
Yeah. Pros and
So,
cons.
yeah.
It works.
And
It's
listen,
important.
that's awesome. He just mentioned
It may
it.
help you make the right choice.
That's awesome.
Because you see people that get divorced and get separated, and when there's kids involved, oh my gosh, it's horrible.
You
I
know,
can't
that
stand to
does,
see
people
it.
don't think about it or it doesn't cross their mind, but absolutely, divorces that affect kids,
It
their
does.
children. And it's hard. You don't want to, I mean, things happen in life, but just, I don't know, to go through that,
It's tough.
it's tough, man.
It's tough. It's tough on everybody, but it's really tough on the little ones, especially if they're little.
I, Trust me, I have parents that tell me, like, listen, you know, they have to go there and tell me, I'm going through this. If you see a change in a child's behavior, because believe it or not, does it affect a child? Absolutely. That reflects in their schoolwork and their behavior. So, you know, and
I've
unfortunately,
seen people that have stayed in the relationship until
yes,
their child
turns
is
18.
done 18, and I've seen them
I know.
at that point pack their stuff and gone.
Absolutely. I know people like this. I know. And
That
it's
they stay in
sad.
the relationship. It's sad. It's tough to have to go through that,
It's rough
but they
because you
do
know
it for
what's
their
that?
children.
They do it for their kids, but they rather risk their happiness for that child.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be like a situation where you're like, that's it. I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, there's plenty of people like that, Randy.
there is.
Sad.
I've also seen the other side of the spectrum where where the parents are too strict and they're too hardcore. And at 18, the kid has their bags packed and leaves.
Absolutely.
At 18. And then I've seen the kid go through the struggle.
But they rather go
and
through
they
that
go
than to
through
be
the
home.
struggle. They go live at a friend's house and they shack up with their friends and they do that and they bounce from house to house. And
That's sad.
And they struggle. And they struggle. Because let me tell you, when I was young, in my teens, I was already out of school. I remember that I was going to move out with my best friend, which I wish I would have never done because it's a little scar in our, we got over it. But because our friendship was so strong, we got over it. But I remember my father sitting in the backyard with my dad. My dad was cool, man. He was a cool dude. And he told me, he goes, are you sure you want to move out, man? Because my house was cool. I didn't have any of those problems.
Right.
I didn't have any of those problems. My father was not. He was strict to the point, like, my father, he was whip me if I disrespected my mom.
Right.
If I did certain things, then I would get the belt. But let's say that I didn't do my homework, or I didn't do chores, or I didn't do certain things, or I didn't come home on time.
Right.
He would tell me, you got to be home before the sun sets.
Right.
If the sun sets at 7, you need to be home by 7. One day I got home and my bike was chained. My bike was like my car. Back in those days, we were out. It's not like now that you're scared to leave your kid outside because somebody's going to kidnap them or steal them, child traffic your kid, paranoid about it.
Right.
But when I was a kid, that wasn't the case. I would get home, do my thing, get on my bike, and I was gone for hours. Anywhere I wanted to go in the neighborhood, there was no restriction. My father wouldn't tell me, hey, you can't leave this part. No. There was no restriction. Sometimes we would go for miles and miles and go fishing at a lake over there or go play football at the school. There was no restriction. One day I got home and my bike is chained to a pole in my backyard. Like chained to the pole.
Right.
Chink. Until I straightened out whatever I had to straighten out, behave the way I started to behave. And it could be there for a week. It would be there for 2 weeks. I remember one time, and I know I deviated here from what I was telling you, but I'll get back to it. I remember, this is the way that my dad taught me. I remember when I was in high school and I shared the car with my mom. Okay. It was a nice car. It was a Supra, Toyota Supra, and it was nice. It was burgundy, and all the interior was burgundy. And, on the weekends, we would go out with my friends and the girls, and we'd go out and party, or we would go, different things. And we went to this one place, and we parked. I think it was over there by Key Biscayne, which they cleared it out now. They took out all the trees. You remember we used to park over there by the trees where you could see the skyline and hang out, chill. And wherever we went that day, there was like this white, sandy kind of white sand that was like powder. And at night, we couldn't tell. But my friends and I had gotten in and out of the car with this white sand that it got all over the car.
Oh.
And I remember, this is how my father, he was hardcore, man. I remember sleeping in my room and I could hear my mother telling my dad, Rogelio, deja que tú veas el carro lo que hizo Randy. Look, wait till you see what Randy did to the car.
Right. Oh, my God.
And I could hear that. And I had no idea why. I thought she was just making a big deal about whatever. And when my dad saw it, I didn't know. He waited for me to get up. When I got up, he just says, give me the keys to the car. So that was like, I can't use the car.
Right.
And don't ask me.
Right.
That's exactly what he said. Don't ask me. You know how long I went without being able to drive the car? 1 year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was...
A whole year.
That's tough. That's tough.
My father was hardcore.
Yeah,
he didn't play.
Yeah, no, that's hardcore.
That's how he would teach me. 1 year. You think after when I got the car back, you think the car was impeccable all the time when I put it back?
Of course. You learned your lesson.
I'm sitting in the backyard with him and he goes to me, you sure you want to leave, man? You sure you want to move out?
Right.
And I was big already.
Right.
I was in probably my 20s. I worked for him. He had a big, giant business, a big, giant factory, manufactured window trimmings, blinds. He goes, you sure you got it made here, bro? You don't have to pay any rent. You got a car. You got your own room. Nobody tells you when to come and go. You come and
Right.
go whenever you want.
You know what's the thing, Randy? And I don't mean to cut you off. We hit 18. That's it. We know it all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. At 18, I'm gonna move in with a cousin, a best friend, without realizing. You're young, you're naive. That it's like, now that you're an adult in your adulting, you're like, hold up, this no,
And it wasn't like I went to do anything that I didn't do already.
right,
Nothing changed. I just lived in a different building.
right. Just
And now I was responsible for all these bills and all this money that I had to give up now that I didn't
Yeah.
have to give up before.
you're adulting. Yes, that we think, hey, I think most of us say that. Oh, when we're 18, that's it.
The biggest problem was that my best friend had a son. I didn't.
Mm,
So things went on when I was home that he didn't want going on
right,
because he had a little boy.
right.
So it created a problem between me and my best friend
Mm.
where we didn't speak for years after that. It didn't last long, a couple of months. And I called my dad. I said, can I come back home?
Right.
I made a big mistake. So not only did I make a big mistake leaving my house, doing all that, spending all the money that I spent first, last month, deposit, all the money, the furniture, everything that we went through, we destroyed my relationship with my best friend that I grew up with.
Wow.
And this is why I tell you, I'm a good guy for relationships. This guy, he's my best friend again. We've been friends for
That's
many
awesome.
years after that. But we went, I don't remember. We must have gone through somewhere between 5 and 10 years without talking.
Wow.
A long time. But he never gave up. I gave up. I was pissed at what happened with our relationship.
Of
I was
course.
pissed off. There's a bunch of stuff I don't want to talk about, but I was pissed. And he would call every year. On my birthday, he would call my house because we still had house phones. Remember those?
Yeah.
He would call my house and my mom. He would talk to my mother every single year on my birthday.
That's impressive.
He would call to say happy birthday, to see if he could talk to me. And every year, my mom would pass me the message with the phone number to call him back. For years, I didn't call him back.
That's super impressive because those
For
women were just
years,
so different.
he didn't give up on me. Thank God, Richard, that you didn't give up on me, bro.
That's awesome.
He didn't give up on me. He kept calling every year. Makes me feel like crying. And one year I called him. And we picked up right where we left off. Man, it was amazing. That's how tight our friendship was. I went and met up with him. We talked for a few minutes. We hung out for a little while wherever he was at. He was living somewhere on the beach, I think. And we just picked up that part of our life, that little friction part that we had. It was like it never happened. We've never talked about it.
That's super.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
No, amazing. We had we just had a guys trip where we went to Tennessee, Pigeon Forge. We rented a cabin over there, like 12 of us. And it was just not just us friends. I'm talking about friends. We were little. We hung out when we were 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. We went to elementary school together, junior high school together. And it wasn't just us. It was some of them. Richard brought his sons. Tito brought his son. It was like a bunch. Johnny brought his son. So I was the only one that didn't have boys, big boys. So it was pretty cool that we were able to hang out. And I think the next trip, Richard's going to bring a grandson.
That's
so
super cool.
like it's
Like,
next
sounds like a
level.
super fun
Like
trip.
it's super cool, man.
Super
like
cool.
so like relationships, I have amazing friends and yes, relationship wise, I love it, man. I have a great.
And that's awesome because women are so different than men in that aspect. Like what Richard did to call you every year. Like women, when they are upset with you, it's like, that's it. It's over. Like you don't hear from them and that's it. It's like if you happen to maybe cross path and then talk about maybe what happened and just like, hey, but if you deal with someone that hold grudges like that, it's hard to try to make up that friendship. So
Yeah, it was
impressive.
I was pretty upset and it was stupid, But I was pretty upset for a long time. But thank God that he didn't give up on me, and we were able to.
That's
pick that up.
great.
Yeah,
Super great.
yeah, yeah. It was awesome. It was awesome. So tell
So
me some more about Flint. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you. I know you're in the whole other side of the spectrum of side hustles. What can what different side hustles have you done that you would say that, hey, you know what, you can give this a shot, or that this is great, or maybe, hey, I would
Oh,
steer
that's
off
good.
a little bit from.
Okay. I started working for myself. The first time that I worked for myself, that I had my own business where I went and made money on my own, was when I was working for my father,
Okay.
when he manufactured window treatments, blinds, and we did wholesale. So we sold to the retailers. We would sell to the people that would go to the homes and measure the
Oh,
windows,
okay.
give the people the price, sell the blinds to them, go back, install the blinds, and do all that part. We were the ones that manufactured and sold to them. Well, when I got a little bit more experience in the business, I don't remember exactly the day that I got started, but I was pushed into having to go to a home and installing some blinds. And installing them was easy for me because I knew how to build them, I knew how to make
Yeah,
them. Putting
right.
them up was no big deal. But I think after I did that first installation, I said, man, I could do this. And I started to go do estimates
Okay.
and sell blinds and do window treatments back in the day. And I remember when Hurricane Andrew came through Florida. I don't know if you remember
Oh
that.
yeah, I remember.
When Hurricane Andrew came through Florida and destroyed Florida, all the homes, when people started to rebuild their homes, everybody needed blinds. It was probably the best time in the industry for a lot of people in the window treatment industry. I remember my partner and I was in my 20s, and there was months that we were making $40,000.
Wow.
I remember. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. And one day, my father, I never forget this. My father, there was this guy that wanted to talk to me about a business. And he tells me, listen, I have such and such that wants to talk to you about a business. And he kept scheduling the time, and I kept coming up with some stuff. Wahito, my father was awesome, man. I think about it. And I remember he called me, listen, bro, I scheduled him to come here tomorrow at such and such. If you're not here, I'm going to kick your ass. That had to
Right.
be. When he said that, I needed to be there, right?
Right.
So I remember I went and saw him. And this is the first time that I got exposed to multi-level marketing, network marketing. The first time that I ever saw it was the Amway business.
Amway, I remember.
You remember Amway?
Oh yeah.
And I remember, let me tell you, this is when in Amway, all the big dogs were still building their businesses. They were already super successful. The super awesome guys, Tim Foley, Dexter Yeager, the biggest superstars in the business, were still building their businesses were monsters, but they were very active.
Right.
They were very successful already, but they were super active still. And I remember sitting at the table with Robert, and he shows me the business. He drew the circles, which they don't do that much anymore because people get all bent out of shape when they see that. And he drew the circles. He explained it to me, and the commissions and the way that it worked and the downline and the building the team. And I understood it right away. I'm one of those people that if you show me a business, a good network marketing MLM business, I'm in one now, which is next level. But when I saw it, the first time that I saw that, I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
And I said to him, I wanted to make sure I understood it. I said, can you show me that again? And he showed it to me again. And I was like, oh man, I could do this. Oh, I could do this. Oh my God, I got so excited. I couldn't sleep for months. What I took away, I never made money in Amway. And let me tell you, I spent tons of money traveling,
Right.
going to conventions, going to seminars, reading books, listening to tapes. And little did I know, I might not be I wasn't making money like physical dollars into my bank account,
Right.
but the investment that I was making into myself was monstrous. Because what I learned in that business, and I think I read 30 books my
That's
first year
awesome.
in the business. I was eating them up at night. The personal improvement books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Like, I can remember tons of books that I read in the beginning, and it changed me. I grew as a person. And after that, everything that I've ever touched, I've gotten in MLM businesses now that I remember one of them with my friend Bud. We built it in over 27 states in a couple of
Wow.
years. In over 27, we were financially independent. I was living by myself in a nice apartment in Orlando. He was living down the street with me. I lived with him for a long time while we built the business. And that's a whole nother story. I've
Right.
had Bud on here. People have met Bud on the podcast. But wow, it was amazing. And it was because I brought a lot of knowledge, and I had grown, and I still had grown as much as I've grown since then
No, I
that I
can
was in that
imagine.
business. And then they found, tu te imaginas, we were making great money. We weren't rich, but we had enough money coming in every month from our business.
Mhm.
We were having little meetings every week, already to the point that we had hundreds of people on our team. And all of a sudden, they filed Chapter 13. To make a long story short, the company went out of business. They sold it. I don't know what they did, but my income stopped. I had to go get a job.
Mm. That's tough.
Can you imagine?
That's a tough one. But you know what?
It's a good one. It's a teaching one.
It's
It
a
helps you
teaching
grow,
one.
man.
And the fact that you invested in yourself, that is key. I love reading, and some of the books you mentioned I've read, and that's one thing that I always tell people is invest in yourself. You understand? Buy these books, go out there and don't you want to do something, go for it. But you definitely have to invest in yourself,
Got you.
just like you did. You know, you
talk
may
about
not
it all
have
the
the
time.
money, physical money, but the knowledge that you gain, it's
Let me tell you,
amazing.
when I was involved in that company, in Amway, I still lived with my parents. So I made a little bit of money. I was working with my dad. I made a little bit of money. But to go on these trips, you needed to have money. I
Absolutely.
sold my gun collection. I sold my golf clubs. I sold whatever I could sell to go to the events.
Yeah, to make it happen.
Whatever I needed to do, I did to be able to go to these events because they told me, you got to go. If you want to be successful and you don't be financially independent, you got to go. You got to go.
Absolutely.
And I was coachable. Everything they told me, I did it.
That's key. See,
And you got to be coachable.
you have to be coachable.
And it paid off for me. And then that happened with that company with Buddy. You know what? We didn't give up. But we got back up. We started another company. We got involved with another business, and we started rolling with another business, and we made money with another business. And it's been up and down. There's gonna be failures. There's gonna be wins. We're involved with a
Yes.
really good one now, and I'm excited. You know, it's.
That's great.
But don't wait till you're 40.
Nope.
Don't wait till you're 50 to make it happen. I see people right now in their 20s and their 30s rocking with their businesses. When they're my age, they're going to be chilling, doing what they love, not having to be chasing the dollar
That's right.
bill when you're 50 years old.
Yep. Well, now that you say that with the age, that's my kids right now. Back then, you would tell kids, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And they would sit there and tell you, "Doctor, lawyer." Yes, some of them still tell you that,
That's awesome.
but to hear them say, "I want to be a YouTuber," it's like, okay, you have some young kids that are on YouTube that they're making
Yeah.
lots of money, and it's impressive to hear them say that because it's like, what these little kids, they think about that, a
They want to
YouTuber
be influencers.
already, yeah, influencers,
Yeah.
but definitely you have to go out there and invest in yourself. Don't be scared. It's the same thing, and not trying to deviate from
No,
your
that's fine.
conversation.
It's fine.
But relationships is the same way. You have to pour into that relationship. I always say there's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist, I'm sorry. It only makes things a little better. Some people are kind of spectacle about that, but hey, always look towards like a mentor,
Big time.
someone
Super
who
important.
people who have been married for a lot of years. Don't take relationship advice from single people.
Yeah. That's why
You
they're
don't want to
single.
do that. Exactly. Pour into that relationship, communicate. And again, there's nothing wrong with a therapist
No.
at
No.
all. People be
It's
like,
the same
oh,
thing as a
no.
mentor, but that's what they call them when it comes to relationships.
Exactly.
They're gonna tell you. They're gonna advise you. They're someone that has a lot of experience. They've talked to thousands of people about relationships. You think they're gonna know a little bit. They're gonna guide you in the right way.
Absolutely. That's why I don't have children, but I say God bless me with, I have 24. And
That's awesome.
although it's challenging and at times I do want to give up, I have to be honest.
We all do. There always comes a time where we feel like giving up.
I sit there and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm here for a reason. And I also have friends that are married with children, and they always tell me how tough it is. But with their husbands, they're like, I thank God I have my amazing husband that's going through it right there with me, going step by step.
That's awesome.
Understand? Sometimes us as women, we go through,
We help each other,
right? You help one another, and
encourage each other.
absolutely, absolutely. And also us as women, we go through our women phase where you have children and you go through hormone changes. Um, I always think, and that's one thing that always caught my attention to hear my friends when they say it's tough, not to how you see your body change, now your life, your focus is in this little one that depends on you. And I see that and I'm like, me, I see so many people have children and then they file for divorce. They start having issues now because now the attention is on this little one that depends on you, and you just need that solid partner
Yeah.
that's there with you.
Yeah.
Understand one another, help out one another.
I see people. I see people that have, all women are different. Some women have their hormonal thing during their month, and they go from being an angel to being a monster. Okay, I'm lucky. I can't even tell with my wife.
Wow.
And she has to tell me, or I got to see the little box in the bathroom.
Right.
And that's when I know.
Right. Right.
But my wife, no, I don't have that problem with my wife. Praise God. But I have seen guys going through that, and it can be rough. It can be tough.
It's
when,
tough.
When with some.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, us women and our hormones, that's,
Hey, we can't live without you, man.
–
Can't live without you. I don't know how people do it. I see single dudes out there, and I'm like, oof.
It's tough, too.
Yeah,
It's tough out here nowadays to find
gotta have-
someone, that's rocking with you and that you guys are,
Yeah.
want the same thing, have that people getting along, that bond, being compatible. So that's one thing. If you guys, for those of you in a relationship, communication is key. Try to understand one another. Again, I'm far from perfect.
Tell them about your podcast so they can check it
know.
out. I put her I tagged her on my story, but go ahead, tell them.
Yes,
And I'll be
Randy.
tagging you all week anyway. So
Okay, yeah, no problem. Randy tagged me. But if you guys want to follow me, you can check me out on Instagram at Flame Talk, and that's with 2 Ks at the end. I have my podcast going. You guys can check it out. My YouTube, the same thing. You can look me up for the same thing. And I'm always posting different episodes, different topics. If you guys have going through a situation and you would like to reach out to me, please feel free. Feel free. And Randy, I see you doing your thing, man. I'm so glad.
Doing it.
And I'm
listen,
so happy for you.
You asked me about the different things that I've done, and one of the things that I did, one of the, it wasn't really a side hustle. It was more of a job, but I worked with the owner and one of my best friends, Tito, and we were doing industrial kitchens. That's when you go into when you do kitchens like at restaurants,
Right.
stainless steel, all the heavy stainless steel equipment. That was one of the coolest jobs. It was hardcore sometimes. It was hardcore. We would work 10, 12 hours in a day, hard labor, but it was super gratifying when we finished. Sometimes we would have to drive to South Carolina. They flew us to a different country once to do a kitchen. We did Wayne Huizinga's kitchen down at up north. I forgot what city it was in. I did so many cool. That was one of the coolest businesses. And let me tell you, that is a specialty.
Right.
Industrial kitchens. I remember because David, the guy that we worked with, sometimes we would get to a building. This was really cool about it. And let's say we had a table, a counter, a kitchen counter that would be 25 feet long. Ooh. It would be super big. And we couldn't get it in the building. And David would cut it.
Right.
He would cut the counter in 3 or 4 pieces. The stainless steel with a like you see on TV that they cut the door with a it was called a plasma arc. Cut the tables. And then bring it in. The first time that I saw him do this, it was the coolest thing. We would take it inside. Once we get inside the building, he put the counters back together. He would weld them back together. And then we would buff the weld to the point that you couldn't see it anymore with the stainless steel. We would buff it to the point. We would start with the thick sandpaper, and then you go little by little down to the fine, to the point where you have this little trapito that you're rubbing on it, and it would be gone. It was the most, and let me tell you, sometimes I would go pick up with Tito, we'd go pick up $500,000 in kitchen equipment.
Wow.
Put it in the kitchen. It was a super gratifying job. Industrial kitchens, big bucks. Check it out, guys. That was one of the side hustles that I enjoyed the most working with the team. That was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's really cool.
I've done all kinds of stuff, man. It's been I'm gonna write a book one day. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Right.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Get it wherever you can, man. Yeah, man. Stop being afraid.
You gotta, yes.
Do it.
Stop being afraid. Take the leap.
Take the leap.
Do you know that an eagle, when the baby eagles are in the nest with the eagle, and the mother knows that it's time, that she pushes the little baby eagle out of the nest. It doesn't wait for the little baby eagle to jump out of the nest. The mom pushes the baby eagle out of the nest if it doesn't take off. Pushes it out, makes it fly. Take the leap.
Wow. That's impressive. How
Yeah.
nature.
They just soar high like the eagles soar.
Beautiful.
I have a big giant eagle on my dresser at home. My neighbor gave to me. Like, oh man, that's awesome. Big giant eagle.
That's cool.
Evie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait to go on your show.
Yes, I can't wait either.
I appreciate you coming on. It's been a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Lady Boss over here, guys.
There you go. Check me out. Don't forget to check out also. Subscribe to Randy.
Randy starts a side hustle, guys.
Has some awesome tips for you all.
I'm going to get some more lady bosses on here so the ladies can see that it's not just guys. Girls can have a side hustle. Women can work their own side business. Build your business. Work on your own dream, guys. Don't spend your life working for someone else's dream. You have your own life. You can live your dreams. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. You just got to take the leap and have no fear. Fear starts with false evidence appearing real, guys. It doesn't mean anything. You have to just charge through it.
That's right.
Whatever we got to go through, we're going to grow through. That's the mentality, guys. Thanks for checking us out. I hope you guys have a great evening. I love all of you guys. God bless everybody, and we'll see you on here again next week. Bye-bye.